So a few weeks back, a couple months back now, I posted a video of me starting to chop up this car. I'm chopping up an 86. I genuinely feel bad about it because I absolutely love these cars. But fortunately, me chopping it up means it's going to save some other vehicles. So the frame rail's been chopped off for a friend of mine. Got the doors pulled off. I'm about to cut the roof off for another friend of mine. Some of the sheet metal here, I've got to cut out some of it for the hatchback. But luckily, what's left is going to go to another guy. I was going to scrap the shell, but there's another guy from Virginia, and he's looking for some parts for his right-hand drive 86. So just some spots that are rusted out. So he's going to take the whole shell, hopefully, as long as you know, it's got what he needs. So I'm going to chop the roof off today, chop the taillight section off, and probably chop off the quarter panels here too. You know, I've got marked out where I'm going to chop it at, so that way I know where to cut, and then I can pull the roof off and set that aside for my friend. And then I got to continue pulling out the parts that I know that I still need. So it's a sad day. I don't like doing this because I love these cars. I hate them. But I know that this car was so far beyond saving because of how rusted it was. Sure, with a very talented restoration shop, you know, it could have been saved, lots of sheet metal work, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, fortunately, it's going to save some other vehicles. I mean, I've shown this before, but, you know, this car fell off the trailer when they got ruined by a drunk driver. It crushed that. The front frame rail was bent. The whole car is kind of like tweaked a bit, so it would have to go on a frame rail to say the least. But then when I started tearing into it, I found more and more rust. There's rust along the floor pans, there's rust holes here and here, there's rust holes in some of the key suspension mounts. So we figured, you know, I'll chop it up and save some other cars and help get my hatchback done, which is under that car cover there. So let's get to it. Just like that, we've got a drop top 86. That wasn't funny. It was kind of crazy. As soon as I was cutting off some of these parts, like when I cut that front corner, like the whole shell like tweaked. So that to me says that the whole thing was bent and the roof was kind of keeping it in shape. As soon as I started chopping it, the whole thing just sagged. So the roof is actually a pretty good, it is a pretty good structural piece for these cars. I mean, you can see the sheet metal double stamped in here, right? You know, same thing here, you've got a bunch of interior structure. These ones are pretty weak. And there's a little bit of a piece in there, but pretty much what happens, like when you put stiff suspension on an 86, like especially on the coupes, these tend to dimple in a little bit just from extra, you know, from the suspension points here to here. There just ends up being a little bit of flex. But, yeah, all right, the roof is off it. I could probably pull that door off. I just got to find a place for it. And then I actually need these. So I'm probably just going to use an angle grinder and cut that out, because I can't really use a hole saw because of the hole there. So I'll probably just chop out those. A few more things to pull, some nuts and bolts, and yeah, then this car is ready for its next person, I guess. And just like that, it's time to say goodbye to the parts car. I still have quite a few pieces from this. They're going to be put on my cars. Some bits going to some friends' cars. And then another 86er from Florida Brad Burnett, if you know who he is. He's coming to pick this thing up, and he's going to cut parts off for his car as well as for another 86 guy down in Florida. So it's time for it to leave my hands and move on to save a few more cars. And then hopefully, finally, I can get a hatchback into the garage to really dig deep into that, and hopefully fit the drift car in here too, so I can work on both of them. Turns out a Corolla fits perfectly in the bed of an F350. When it's chopped in half anyway. It's the perfect width, sits perfectly between the bed rails. And, yeah. Goodbye, parts car. I will not miss you. That was Brad Burnett. Is that Burnett? Anyway, that was Brad that picked it up. He's going to cut it up for, he's got a couple of Corollas, so he's got some parts that he needs. Another Corolla guy, Robert Turnbow, he needs parts off it too. So this car is now saving at least 2 more, plus whoever else buys parts for Brad. So if you need Corolla parts, I'm just happy that it's out of my hair. I spent too long with it in my garage. I ran out of time, ran out of effort, so it just kind of was dragging on and was actually stressing me out. So yes, there were still a lot of good parts on it. Yes, I could have made money, cutting it up and sending parts out to people that needed them, but I just lost the motivation and drive to do it. So now it's time for me to clean the garage up here. I've got some gross stuff, and I got some things I need to figure out where they're going to go. And then the hatchback can finally come in the garage, and I can work on more restoration stuff for that. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Thanks everybody for watching, and let me know what you think I should do with the hatchback next.